The 17 News at Sunrise podcast is brought to you by Clinica Sierra Vista.
Welcome back to the 17 News at Sunrise podcast, where we share your news on your schedule.
Working in the spirit of the Golden Empire, this is 17 News at Sunrise.
And good Monday morning. It is 5 a.m. I'm Alex Fisher alongside Chris Burton. Maddie Jansen has the day off. An investigation continues into a two-alarm structure fire that erupted over the weekend at a vacant restaurant in Lamont. County firefighters were called to Casa Lopez on Panama Road near Main Street about 9 a.m. yesterday. When they arrived, they found this scene, and you can see several first responders knocking down the blaze. No word yet on what sparked the fire or whether anyone was inside when the fire happened. This is the same building that burned in December, leaving a man dead from smoke inhalation.
And breaking overnight, firefighters were called to a fire northeast of California City early this morning. Crews were called to a ranch on Aristotle Drive for a structure fire just before 1 a.m. At this time, it's not known what structures were involved, but about a half acre to an acre of brush and trees were reportedly on fire when crews arrived. No further information is available as of news time.
Two people escaped a burning building in East Bakersfield. Want to show you video from the scene on Player Court near Highland Knolls Drive and Fairfax Road. Emergency crews were called to the burning home at about 7:45 Friday. Initial reports were that two elderly people were still inside.
The first engine arrived on scene and somebody had actually was in the front yard, so they confirmed that one of the two people that was reported had made their way out. That engine company went into rescue mode, made entry into the structure that did have smoke in it, and they were able to find the second victim, pull them out.
Paramedics helped one of the men who suffered severe burns. He was taken to the hospital. His condition is still unknown. No word yet on what caused the fire.
Your time now 5:04, making news across the state. A San Jose Fire Department battalion chief says a Home Depot is, quote, pretty much a total loss. Check out this video there. The 5-alarm fire broke out Saturday. 100 firefighters worked for hours to put out the flames. Fire officials say the roof had collapsed on almost the entire structure. Thankfully, no one was injured, but there's been no word on how the fire started.
Yeah, that fire very extensive. And a city near the Bay Area is trying to figure out what started a massive fire over the weekend and how much damage the city's piers sustained. Officials say the fire started around noon on Saturday at the base of the silos surrounding vegetation. It grew and burned throughout the day and into yesterday morning. Firefighters were able to put it out by yesterday afternoon. Well, estimates say more than 1,700 civilians have been killed in Ukraine, with the actual number likely being much worse.
Russia's brutal invasion is expected to escalate as Russian President Vladimir Putin puts a new war commander in charge. Bree Jackson in Washington with the latest.
Good morning, Alex, Chris. Russia's new ground commander is known as the Butcher of Syria. This leadership change comes after Russian forces suffered major setbacks and were forced to regroup.
7 weeks into the war, and Russia's attacks are entering a deadly new phase. These satellite images show an 8-mile convoy rolling towards parts of eastern Ukraine.
Ukraine won the battle for Kiev. Now another battle is coming, the battle for Donbas.
Officials fear the targeting of civilians will only get worse now that Vladimir Putin has put a new general in charge, one who's known for his brutal tactics.
He is the goon called in by Vladimir Putin to flatten cities like Aleppo in Syria. He is the worst of the worst.
Over the weekend, British Prime Minister Boris Johnson met with Ukraine's president in Kyiv and pledged more military and financial aid. Still, Zelensky wants Western nations to do more. The Biden administration vows to continue its support.
What we want to see is a free and independent Ukraine, a weakened and isolated Russia, and a stronger, more unified, more determined West.
The violence has already forced more than 10 million Ukrainians from their homes.
They don't have souls, I think, and they don't think that We are people.
Ukrainian officials say they remain open to peace talks.
If I have the chance to save a human life or a village, a town from destruction, I will take that chance.
But as Russian forces prepare for a fresh assault across the east, Ukrainians stand ready to defend their country.
After British Prime Minister Boris Johnson's surprise visit to Kyiv, the White House says President Biden currently does not have plans to visit Ukraine's capital. In Washington, I'm Bree Jackson for 17 News.
President Biden is set to speak with Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi today as he pushes world leaders to take a harder line against Russia. India has taken a neutral stance on the war so far and continues to buy Russian energy supplies despite pressure from NATO countries. The U.S. has reportedly considered some sanctions on India for its recent purchase of Russian air defense systems. Your time now, 5:08. Now to the latest on the trial of Matthew Queen, the man accused of torturing and murdering Michael Holsenbake, a member of the Bakersfield Three. On Friday, Shane Buchanan took the witness stand, testifying about an incident in which he was threatened with an assault rifle. Buchanan said he contacted his friend Bailey Despot through Snapchat and made plans to hang out the morning of April 15th, 2018. Shortly afterward, as he stood in the doorway of his room at the Red Roof Inn, a car pulled into the parking lot. Buchanan believed that car was Despot. Moments later, according to Buchanan, a man armed with an AR-15 assault rifle ran toward him. Buchanan said he slammed the door shut, locked it, and called 911. He testified that Matthew Van de Castile, an acquaintance of Queen, was the man who rushed him with the AR-15. He told the court he believed Queen was also involved. The men eventually left after failing to get inside the room. You can read much more about Friday's witness testimony in the trial of Matthew Queen on our website, kgt.com. There will be no court proceedings this week. The trial will start again next week on Monday.
Meantime, current secret witness is still offering a reward up to $10,000 for information leading to an arrest and charges in the death of James Kolstad, a member of the Bakersfield Three. It has been more than 4 years since Kolstad was shot and killed in the driveway of a home on Sandstone Lane in South Bakersfield. That murder happening less than 2 weeks after his friend, Michael Holsenbake, went missing. A possible suspect vehicle was described as a newer model silver sedan. If you have any information, you're asked to call Secret Witness at 322-4040 or the Bakersfield Police Department at 327-7111.
Your 17 Homicide Tracker this morning. A man is dead after a homicide in Oildale on Saturday. Sheriff's deputies were called to Wilson Avenue near Stanford Drive just before 9 on Saturday morning. When they arrived, they found a man suffering from what first responders call trauma to the body. That victim did die at the scene. It's unclear what led up to the discovery. Witnesses at the scene later heard deputies calling to someone over a loudspeaker, urging them to get out of one of the homes on this street. It's unclear at this point if this is related to the homicide. We have reached out several times to KCSO over the weekend for more information, with no response so far. If you know anything about this case, you're encouraged to call the Sheriff's Office at 861-3110, or you can stay anonymous and call the Secret Witness line at 322-4040.
The Bakersfield Police Department is firing back at social media users who believe an officer covered their body-worn camera with tape. BPD says it has received several questions lately about a social media post in which a person claims to have found an officer's body camera covered in tape. The post reportedly contained a picture of the body cam, including the officer's name and badge number. The post goes on to suggest the officer must have been involved in, quote, shady activity. Footage from that camera appears to fill in the blanks as to how it became covered in tape.
Hey, Jack.
BPD says it appears the person who found the camera placed the tape over it before bringing it back to the police station. BPD says the officer lost the camera while squeezing through a hole in a fence, responding to a domestic violence call.
Your time now 5:34 from our 17 follow-up file. It's been just over 1 year since an Oildale man was first reported missing. Charles Prunty's family reported him missing back on April 10th, 2021. They say the 68-year-old was last seen at the Valley Strong Credit Union on Chester Avenue. Since that time, Prunty's family says no one has heard from or seen him. Despite the lack of answers, his sister says she's not giving up hope.
I just want him to come home so my family and I can close this book because it's a nightmare for us. I love my brother very much, and we just want him home.
The sheriff's office says Charles Prunty drives a new white Ford Ranger four-door truck like the one you saw there with paper dealer plates. Prunty is diabetic and does not have his medication. Current secret witness is still offering a $5,000 reward for information that leads to locating him. Just call 322-4040.
In education news this morning, a new report by the Kern County Superintendent of Schools office concludes there is substance to the allegations of possible fraud and mismanagement by the former president of the Fairfax School District Board of Trustees. The more than 50-page report combs through allegations made against then board president and current board member Palmer Moland, providing details on policies and board rules that were broken by the board member, who's faced backlash by the community he serves. 17's Christian Galeno has more.
More than 50 pages outline the finding of the Fiscal Crisis and Management Assistance Team, a team that operates under KCSOS. The report finds that there is enough evidence of fraud within the Fairfax School District by Palmer Moland and for the district attorney to be called in. The report says Moland got the board to repay him for campaign signs. Moland got the Fairfax board to hire a law firm with the single goal of keeping secret a report very critical of Moland's style of running board meetings where he didn't permit discussion by board members with whom he disagreed and refused to allow public comment, saying Moland, quote, openly behaves as if the laws and regulations of the state do not apply to him. 17 News reached out to Moland, but instead he provided a statement saying, I have been a past employee dedicated to always focusing on the health and well-being of students and families in the community. I hope more positive light is shed on the situation as a response from the district is drafted.
Yeah, certainly.
I have no questions at the moment, but I'm sure I will have plenty for you very soon.
The report was presented by KCSOS to the Fairfax School Board Thursday night. Moland was present as he still is a board member. KCSOS provided a statement to 17 News saying it is not our position to advocate for a specific outcome to any of the agencies to whom our office reported the audit findings to. Our office will, of course, cooperate if any of these entities takes further action. Fairfax Superintendent Regina Green also provided a statement saying in part, it's an ongoing investigation. The board is still reviewing the report, and the report speaks for itself. Being that the board is only 5 members, we can only discuss this in public space.
That was 17's Christian Galeno reporting. Now, these findings are going to be reviewed and discussed by board members on April 20th. In the event it is determined that fraud, misappropriated funds, or other illegal fiscal practices may have occurred in the district, Moland could face criminal charges. You can find a copy of the report on our website, kget.com.
The annual State of the Downtown breakfast returned on Friday, celebrating the 68th anniversary of the Bakersfield Downtown Business Association. The breakfast brought hundreds of people together to honor ongoing efforts to keep the heart of the city thriving.
It's a great event to be back. We have this as an annual event. It's an installation of our officers, but it's also to inform our businesses downtown on what we're going to be working on for the next year.
If you want to learn more about the Downtown Business Association or the Block to Block program, you can find more information on our website, kget.com.
Tri-County's Bank on Saturday announced a donation of $25,000 to the Community Action Partnership of Kern, also known as CAPK. Bank staff say the investment will support CAPK's Volunteer Income Tax Assistance Program, also known as VITA, which provides year-round, no-cost tax preparation for low to moderate income families. This year, CAPK says it expects to assist more than 7,000 families in filing their taxes, resulting in millions of dollars in refunds funneling back into Kern County.
Your time now 5:39. April marks Distracted Driving Awareness Month, and police are hitting the streets to crack down on dangerous driving. Bakersfield police will join other law enforcement agencies around the state to ramp up patrols, searching for drivers breaking the state's hands-free cell phone law. The increased patrols run until April 29th. A statement poll from 2020 says more than 3/4 of drivers say their biggest safety concern on the road is distracted driving due to texting. First responders say you should pull over to make calls and send texts. You're encouraged to silence your phone before starting your car.
Using some types of sugar substitutes could end up affecting one vital organ in your body. Researchers say some sweeteners may disrupt detoxifying process in the liver by stopping a protein that helps carry toxins out. These sweeteners are often used in foods and drinks such as diet drinks and as compact packets. The researchers say further analysis is needed to determine the substitute's safety.
The City of Bakersfield's Animal Care Center has once again teamed up with Wings of Rescue, sending 35 dogs to Canada to be rescued. The Care Center says these dogs will receive a second chance and will be placed in a foster home or adoptive home upon touchdown.
We're solving two problems at once by doing away with our overpopulation, by actually giving them dogs where there's a need for adoptions up there.
CBACC says its shelter is overwhelmed with the number of dogs in its care. If you want to change the life of a local pet and adopt, you can call the Bakersfield Animal Care Center at 832-7387.
Working in the spirit of the Golden Empire, this is 17 News at Sunrise.
The 17 News at Sunrise podcast is a production of KGET and Nexstar Media Group. For more on all of the headlines in today's show, head to kget.com.